There's a new customer journey that applies to all retail, and there's no question that demand is still driven by marketing and advertising, but I'd argue that shopping journeys now, begin with search in most cases, from the people that I know at least anyway. And I think that competition is most intense at the start of the shopping journey, not at the end of the shopping journey. So, once people go through this process to make a decision of multiple options and they narrow those options down. So the further they go through that process and the closer they get to the end, the less opportunity there is to actually compete. So, I'd argue that if somebody walks into your physical store and they've done a huge amount of online research, the sale is then yours to lose, because they have come to your store as a result of their research. They know about your products, they know about your prices, and they know about what the other alternatives are. So they're not out to waste time, they're coming to buy. And so the key here is whether you're actually transacting online or offline is to compete heavily at the start of that customer journey. So it's worth thinking about how your online visibility compares to your real world market share. If you enjoy great market share through sales, but your visibility isn't up to that same level, then the whole online channel is actually a detractor to your business, and it's a risk for your kind of maintaining that market share into the future. And equally, from an experience point of view, it's worth thinking about how your online experience compares to your in-store experience. If the experience is a negative compared to your in-store experience, then it's going to be a detractor to your brand as well. So a lot of retailers talk about service and they talk about convenience, but those values aren't clearly demonstrated in the online experience to the same degree. Most certainly online, and also not just online, but in 2009 and moving forward, a brand is really defined by the customer experience, and from customers talking to each other, much less so than talking to customers and telling them about your brand, which was probably more the case in the period of sort of mass market media and advertising that we're sort of slowly moving away from. Google is a brand that is now enjoys. It's been labelled as the most valuable brand on the planet, and it's been built in a very short space of time. And I doubt many of you have seen a paid advertisement for Google. They've built their brand through creating a great customer experience. And that's a really great lesson for any sort of online business. Google offers high return on effort. So what that means is if you go to the Google homepage, you type in a word, you hit search, you get incredible answers that save you time, and which just didn't exist before. So and that's what people talk about, and why people are attracted to that brand and like that brand. And they focus on simplicity and empowerment, and their experience is their marketing. And that's the way to sort of build an online brand. And similar applies to Zappos, which is a US retailer that sells shoes that was recently sold to Amazon. And they talk about being a service company that just happens to sell products. They also talk about their goal being to create wow for every customer at every touch point. So these aren't sort of technical online specific ideas. These are retail ideas that have existed for a very long time, but they're probably even more important online, given that you're actually not speaking to a real person when you're going through the process of making a transaction, when you're sitting in front of a website. They promote their mission and their values sort of very heavily on their website up front, which seems like relatively uninteresting content for a shopper, but Zappos have really built their brand again through advocacy as opposed to paid media. So people associate with those mission and values and decide, well, I'm going to be on the Zappos team, I'm prepared to go out and use my social networks to promote their business on their behalf. So again, they're investing money in the experience and letting the kind of the marketing take care of itself to a large degree. So there's some things that they do to remove the barriers that get in the way of a sale. So they have a 24/7 warehouse and customer service lines. They talk to customers via their chosen method. So they've got over 400 people using Twitter, and if a customer wants to engage on Twitter, then that's how they'll talk to you. They'll do things like ship 2 pairs of shoes to you and let you return one for free if you're unsure about sizing. So they're doing absolutely everything they can to remove any barrier that's going to get in the way of a sale. And they offer 365-day returns, which obviously would be quite expensive for them to maintain, but that's all part of their cost structure, and that's money that they're spending that would otherwise go to marketing, and it's creating marketing opportunities for them. So now I'm going to talk through some ideas and show some examples on how you can get the customer experience right for an online retail offering. And what I'm going to talk through are sort of 6 steps or 6 phases, 6 customer touch points that make up the online sort of shopping journey from a customer's point of view. And on all of your tables there are sort of a detailed printout of this with a whole lot of ideas that you can take away and have a good look at. So going through these 6 stages, the first is arriving at your website, and that's all about how customers find you and what is the experience like when they first arrive at your website. What do they see? What do they think? And again, how do you get them there? So that's about online advertising, search, email, and landing pages and that sort of thing. The second phase, once they're at your website, is how do you inspire them? So they might have come looking for a particular product, but how do you create sort of some inspiration to sell them things that they didn't actually come looking for, and how do you inspire them to actually make the purchase? So this is about rich content, it's about editorial, suggestive sell recommendations, those sorts of things. The third and a very important part of the customer journey is finding. So typically, customers use online because they're in complete control. They come to your website with a particular product in mind, and you need to give them as many ways as possible to help them find that product on their terms. So they might use search, they might want to browse. You want to give them as many options as possible to find what they're looking for. The fourth and another really important step is knowing it's right. So when they've found the product they're looking for, they want to buy it. That's why they're on your website. But they're not going to buy it until their confidence has reached a tipping point, which makes them feel that they know that they're buying the right price, the right product at the right price from the right retailer. And when that tipping point is reached, then the transaction will go ahead. So given that they don't actually have the product in front of them, we've got to give them as much rich information as possible. We've got to give them multiple views of a product. We've got to give them large images, comparison tools, product visualization, things like reviews, and I'll talk more about that as I go through. Buying and receiving, the critical part of the shopping cart and optimising the cart. And it's great having analytics and tools that allow us to actually look at people going through the process and identifying dropout points and optimising to improve the conversion rate. And finally, getting support. So throughout this whole process, how do we provide support so that if they have a question, we can answer that question immediately while they're on our website, and we can hopefully achieve a sale.